A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. Rwanda's First Lady, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame, has urged the country's youth to use the resources at their disposal to develop and help others to do the same. The First Lady made the appeal to the young people as Rwanda marked International Youth Day. Serge Ntore has the report.
Events to commemorate the day centered around a virtual meeting that brought together 300 youth from across the country. And in her message, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame called on young people not to waste the opportunities they have to improve their lives and those around them.
I encourage you to take an unfiltered look around you. Take in all the realities, thread them into the fabric of your new experiences. Use them as a beacon to guide your dreams, to not only serve you, but also those in your community, your country, and the world at large.
This year's theme focused on environmentally friendly youth innovations in the agricultural sector, and government officials have also urged young people to play their part in national development, especially as the country continues with its national strategy for transformation.
Leta y'u Rwanda yihaye intego yo kuvugurura ubuhinzi n'ubworozi.
The government of Rwanda has undertaken the task of transforming agriculture and animal husbandry using the latest technological methods to increase productivity, and the goal is to record an increase from 5.2% in 2017 to 10.4% in 2024. For this to be achieved, young people must recognize their role in developing the agriculture and animal husbandry sector using environmentally friendly methods, especially because they make up the vast majority of Rwanda's population. We commend the fact that the mindsets of the youth have been changing, turning towards food security, because that is the primary security after all when it comes to food crops. We also want, however, food security when it comes to cash crops as well. The youth must play a role in all of that.
70% of Rwanda's population is engaged in agriculture, and 61.7% of the country's youth is involved in the agricultural sector.
When we speak of boosting productivity, farmers usually opt to use industrial-grade fertilizers, yet we know that they are not good for the soil. We have both farmers and those who rear livestock. Why not use manure instead, so that future generations, 10, 20 or 30 years from now, can also have fertile soil?
As youth, we are prepared to help the farmers all around us by sharing the knowledge we gain in schools. I therefore urge other young people to see the agricultural sector in a different light and work together to solve the problems in it, resulting in its transformation for all to see, even those abroad. An example would be that we are helping to establish the Prime Smart Agriculture Youth Network so that all those companies can be brought together, all those youth. Some of the young people I talked about make very good organic-based fertilizers, and the methods they use are so good they can be taught to others and used countrywide. That way, we can meet agricultural demand, sure that 100 or even 1,000 years from now, the soil will still be productive. International Youth Day was first established by the UN back in the year 2000 and is celebrated on the 12th of August each year, though Rwanda decided to mark the day on the 20th this time around.
To justice matters, the case of Paul Rusesabagina and his 20 co-accused will be ruled on September 20th at 11 a.m. A ruling was expected on Friday, but the High Court Chamber of International and Cross-Border Crimes decided to postpone it. At the time of the ruling, Rusesabagina's lawyers were in the courtroom despite the fact that they and the defendant did not appear during the trial. Judicial spokesperson Mutabazi Harrison told RBA that the large size of the case dossier led to the postponement of the ruling. Mutabazi Harrison also stressed that the postponement of the date for the case ruling was important for the judiciary.
The court that is hearing the case of Rusesabagina and his co-accused today shifted the pronouncement of the judgment that was scheduled today to around 11, and reasons being that they need ample time to finish writing the judgment. And as you know, this case has been heard for almost 3 almost to 4 months. So of course the judges need more time to write it thoroughly and finish up. So they found out that a month or so couldn't be enough to finish up the writing of the judgment, and this is why they decided today to make a postponement of the reading of the judgment. We made it public that today there will be a mention of when the adjournment of this case will be, and then parties appeared, the prosecution was represented, and so giving them more time, like this, or having more time, they will get ample time or good time to write the judgment, and that is the main benefit of the adjournment or the postponement, in that they could write a more clearer and more precise judgment, and then the due time they've really scheduled it, then it could be read or delivered. And the date this case has been adjourned to is the 20th of September at 11 sharp. That is when the reading of the judgment will take place.
Rusesabagina, the former MRCD FLN leader, was arrested in July-August 2020. He is co-accused with 20 others, including Sabimana Calixte, also known as Sankara, who was the FLN spokesperson. They are accused of formation of an illegal armed group belonging to a terrorism organization, financing terrorism, murder as an act of terrorism, abduction as an act of terrorism, and armed robbery as an act of terrorism. The prosecution has asked that Rusesabagina be sentenced to life in prison for the crimes he is accused of, and that Sabimana Calixte Sankara be sentenced to 25 years behind the bars. Moving, the Simergwa cement factory in Rusizi district has announced that within 2 months, a study will be released that shows how to solve the problems that residents in the area often face caused by the factory. The governor of the Western Province, H.E Francois, has appealed to the local residents to be patient, assuring them that the problems will be addressed. Jen Mutoni has the report.
People residing about 100 meters from the site where dynamites are used for rock blasting point out that the activities are seriously damaging their houses. This house was damaged, and the authorities saw it as well. And there was a time the dynamites were blasting rocks, and they witnessed it happening. The governor of the Western Province, H.E Francois, personally visited the homes of the people who complained about their houses being damaged by the explosions, and they told him that although the factory has been helpful in many ways to them, they want to be relocated. We are very disturbed by the dynamites. Either Simergwa compensates us for our property and relocates us, or they reduce their blasting activities, because all we want is a peace of mind. Simergwa says it has continued to work with the authorities to address these issues, and say that on August 23rd, a joint study of various experts will be launched, which will determine the way to go about it.
Whatever that will come out of the study, we shall comply along with their advice.
The governor of the Western Province has urged the factory to resolve the issue quickly, as he also requests the local residents to be patient.
Depending on how the studies are usually done and how we have to follow the results of the study, it won't take many days. It will produce a sustainable solution.
One of the expectations of the report is a blueprint that will unequivocally define the boundaries of the factory that facilitates both the factory and the community. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Some of the disabled veterans living in Nyarugunga sector of Kicukiro district have expressed gratitude to the residents of Kanama sector in Rubavu district for the support they have shown them. In gratitude for how the former soldiers saved them when insurgents attacked their sector, the residents have donated 9 cows and 5 tons of potatoes.
The event was attended by the community representatives from Kanama sector who visited the Mutobo Center in Musanze district, then proceeded to visit the Campaign Against Genocide Museum and held discussions with disabled veterans in Kicukiro district.
During the period of insurgents, a lot of people died, but our soldiers saved us, gave us security as well. Where we are now as a country, looking back, we want to appreciate those who fought to make this possible.
Some of the disabled veterans living in Nyarugunga sector in Kichijoro district have praised the well wishes of Kanama sector and that it is a lesson for the young people today.
This is very valuable. All this love they've shown us, this is the same amount of love I showed my country when it was my time.
The Rubavu District Executive Secretary Olivier Ruhamnyabuga has thanked the residents of the sector and has urged other residents to learn from them.
What others can learn from them is that residents of Rubavu are self-aware. This is evident in all they do. Also, what the country has managed to achieve, moving from divisionism to unity, is nothing to scoff at, because it is a great achievement that the country's people recognize as their own initiative, striving to preserve what has been achieved as Rwandans.
The residents of Kanama sector named this event Kwitanga Kwanyu Amahoro Yachu. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV News.
Thank you, Gabi. Rwanda has handed over 2 Burundian nationals back to their authorities. The 2 men are suspected of robbery back in their home country and had fled to Rwanda, where they were arrested. Both countries have vowed that they will not allow criminals to use them as safe havens.
The 2 men, 26 and 32 years of age, were arrested in Rusizi district 9 days ago, suspected of stealing back in their home country of Burundi.
The
initial investigation revealed that they had robbed a Burundian businessman in different currencies amounting to $4,500 US, 8.62 million Burundian francs, 200,500 Rwandan francs, and 500 Congolese francs. Burundian authorities have welcomed the initiative to extradite the suspected criminals. We thank Rwanda's police for this good initiative, and we hope that other suspects who committed crimes in Burundi and then fled to Rwanda will also be extradited, just like we intend to extradite Rwandan criminals that try to hide in Burundi. Both countries have stressed that there can be no safe havens for criminals from either country on their soil. This event sends a message to all people who think that they can commit crimes in neighboring countries, including Burundi, and then find safe haven in Rwanda. Rwanda will not allow herself to become a safe haven for criminals. Such people should realize that the cooperation of both countries on cross-border crimes is meant to help the peoples of the countries to remain safe as their leaders desire. Burundi recently handed over 7 Rwandan minors that had illegally crossed into that country, and the handover was held at the Nshiri border post.
Parents with children that have multiple disabilities and those who represent people with disabilities are calling for advocacy over the stigmatization they are facing. This comes as Rwanda and the rest of the world mark International Deaf Blindness Day. Gabi Muvunyi has more.
Solange Mukargwego is a resident of Mageragere sector and gave birth to a child with multiple disabilities. This is her 6th child in her 20 years of marriage with her husband. As soon as she gave birth to her child, her husband immediately abandoned her and said he cannot bear to raise the child. After I gave birth to my child with multiple disabilities, we tried to seek treatment, but it was difficult. Through the grace of God, I was able to take my child to Gatagara. However, I spent a very long time there. As my child grows, I am able to see small improvements. I have been with my husband for 25 years, but it reached a point he said he cannot handle what is happening in our lives, and he wants to leave. I asked him the reason as to why he wants to leave, but I know it is because of the child. The issue of stigmatization towards those born and or have disabilities limits their development. The Rwanda Organization of Persons with Deaf Blindness project manager urges people to stop stigmatizing those with disabilities because they have various capabilities. People with hearing and visual impairments are still being stigmatized. We want these people to be like any other Rwandan in the country. That is why we want everyone to value the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The president of the Rwanda Organization of Persons with Deaf Blindness, Furaha Jean-Marie Vianney, points out that despite some many achievements, helping those with multiple disabilities in Rwanda still has a long way to go, especially the lack of access to schools.
tubashije kuba twabona imfashanyigisho zikoze mu buryo bw'ikoranabuhanga.
The National Commission for Human Rights has indicated that it will continue to advocate for the disability of those with multiple disabilities. The Secretary General of the Rwanda National Commission for UNESCO, Albert Mutesa, says the institutions should work with people with disabilities, especially with children being able to go to school and having access to education materials. Figures
from 2012 indicate there are 167 persons living with multiple disabilities. It is anticipated that the general census will show the number of people with multiple disabilities in the country. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV News.
The Rwanda National Police is urging road users, especially motorists, to avoid what they see as minor traffic infractions because the technology now exists to ensure that even they are penalized.
Pedestrians and motorists say that there is still an issue of people violating traffic laws or committing minor traffic offences.
Motorcyclists are always at odds with pedestrians, and every time you try to cross the road, they speed up, and accidents are always a high risk.
A campaign called Gerayo Amahoro is being done to sensitize road users to avoid minor traffic infractions. The Rwanda National Police spokesperson, John Bosco Kabera, is urging all road users to comply with traffic laws, especially motorists.
When you've learned and known the traffic laws to get a permit, you have to keep applying what you learned. But some people are violating the traffic laws and they ignore road signs.
Although the campaign is aimed at educating, CP John Bosco Kabera says those who continue to deliberately violate traffic rules will be punished.
Those who violate the traffic laws, they will be punished, and the traffic cameras will take records of them. But our goal is not to punish, but to make sure drivers are careful.
The Rwanda National Police also points out that they now have state-of-art technology, including cameras, that can help detect those who commit what they may consider to be small infractions. The Gerayo Amahoro campaign has been there for a while now, aimed at reducing road accidents. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
It's only a few days until the kickoff for the FIBA Afro Basketball here in Kigali, Rwanda, which starts from the 24th of August 2021 until the 5th of September. And regarding Rwanda's preparedness to host the tournament, and of course Rwanda's preparedness as the Rwanda National Basketball Club that will be representing the country and the host team as well. This evening about all that, we're joined by Jabo Landry, who is the coordinator for the FIBA AfroBasket 2021. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Mr. Sam. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Let me start by asking regarding Rwanda's preparedness as the host country for the upcoming FIBA AfroBasket. How are we standing as of now, as only 2 days are remaining until the starting of the tournament?
Thank you, Sam. I would say that we are ready. We are ready to host this event. We've been preparing for the past 2 to 3 months ago. So in terms of readiness, I would say that we are to the level of, I wouldn't be ashamed to say that we are beyond 90% of preparedness. There are a few things remaining. So we are working on the final touches. And I'm pretty confident that within the 2-3 days remaining, we'll be ready to have this, the biggest festival, basketball festival in Africa.
Regarding team arrivals, and are all the teams already here in Rwanda?
Not yet. We are waiting for 8 teams to arrive tonight. So far we have 5 in the country, and 2 remaining will be joining tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
And still on that, regarding you're normally the executive director for the Rwandan Basketball Federation, regarding the readiness for the Rwandan team, how is it? We saw the friendly matches being played in Senegal, others here in Rwanda. Regarding our team, the Rwandan national basketball team, how ready are we?
The preparations for the Rwanda national team are going well as well. The preparations have been going on since June. So we have an exciting team to watch, a very good team, young team made of Rwandese. Yeah, so I would say that we are really ready for this event. And we are there not to joke, we're there just to get.
You're optimistic that the team will reach far?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, considering the intensity of the preparations and the skills of the head coach, I'm very confident that we're gonna go far.
All right. We recently saw that 50% of the venue capacity Kigali Arena, that means it's 5,000 fans will be allowed at Kigali Arena. Is that true? And what do people need to know about being allowed to enter Kigali Arena to watch the AfroBasket games?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. That's true. We have been allowed to have 50% of the venue capacity, which is around 5,000 people in the Kigali Arena. The conditions are not complicated. They are so easy to fulfill. It's just for Rwandese, you have to have a vaccine, whether it's one shot or you've completed the shot. The second condition is to have, that applies to everyone, not only Rwandese. For Rwandese, you have to be vaccinated. For the rest, you have to have a valid rapid test of 48 hours.
All right.
Yeah. And the prices, it's 7,000, 10,000, and 15,000. And in all those prices, the test is included for the people who will be tested at the stadium.
So the price, the entry price includes even the testing?
Yes, but for the people who will go to get tested specifically at the stadium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
On behalf of the entire news and technical team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa. Stay safe and have a good evening. Plus, enjoy your weekend.